Hey folks, Pat here from DNS, and this Madison area fishing report is current as of Friday, August 29th. Well, happy Friday, everybody, and happy Labor Day weekend. Geez, I cannot believe how fast the summer has gone by, but here we are. I hope y'all have maybe an extra day off work, and maybe you're going to get out of town. Whatever you do, make sure you get outside and do something that looks like it's going to be gorgeous out, and yeah, enjoy the weekend because fall is on its way. I guess we do have a lot of stuff to talk about here. Start off with some, I guess, literally crappy news. Millions of gallons of raw sewage spilled from busted pipe in Madison. I'm sure you probably saw this on the news. Not a great situation at the Nine Springs sewage treatment plant over here. If you're not familiar, Nine Springs is down on kind of the north end of Lake Waubesa here. This is the plant, and then they got their ponds here, and then the drainage ditches or whatever. Pretty sure they empty out down here by Gilligan's Island. But anyway, yeah, they said 6 million gallons over the course of 10 days leaked out of a busted pipe in here. Of course, that leaked into Lake Waubesa, well, Upper Mud and then Lake Waubesa. But, that as if that isn't crappy enough, and I don't want to come across as some kind of conspiracy theorist here, but I have heard a couple reports here. A couple guys come in the shop and mentioned it, and then online I saw the same thing. Sounds like lots of dead bluegills and sheep's head floating around out here in Lake Waubesa. So, I'm not, I don't, I'm not sure what to think of it. I guess I did call Kyle Olivencia, who is the DNR fish biologist for our area, southern Wisconsin, and specifically Dane County. He said he's aware of it. They are investigating it. They don't have any solid evidence right now, but he did agree that it is a curious coincidence that we would get 6 million gallons of raw sewage dumped into the lake, and now there's a bunch of dead fish. So he said he was looking into it. He said he would keep me posted on what he was able to find out, and I guess it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But either way, it's definitely not a great situation there. I guess that's really the only kind of news I have for the day. But shop news, we got more Z leaders in. So Z leaders made by Jeremy out in Oconomowoc. So nice local-ish company, Wisconsin company, making these great leaders. They're very sought after in the Musky community. We got really thick fluorocarbon leaders. We got sucker quick strike rigs and the ones with the nose rigs on them, so nose clips. So yeah, swing on in and grab those. Musky season is here and is only going to get better. We'll talk about that more too as we go through the report. Still a lot of weeds out there, still a lot of bass that are hungry and eating frogs, so swing on in, get some frogs. We got the still a lot of weeds, a lot of fish on weed lines. You'll hear that'll be the theme throughout the report here. But the Gene rig, as seen here, as I like to call it anyway, or the Monona rig, very effective way to fish for bluegills especially, whether it's right over the side of the boat, right on weed edges. You can find the bottom using your sinker and then just crank up one crank or so and hold on to your rod. Or if you're just drifting out in the middle of the lake, right over the side of the boat, this is a great way to do it. So anyway, I'll touch on that as we go through the report. Still nothing happening on the front door here, so if you've got a fishing related event, or maybe you're in the neighborhood here on the north side and you want to promote some event that's going on, swing by, drop off a poster. We're happy to put those up. I guess that's it for announcements. As far as other stuff fishing related, I didn't see any tournaments for the whole weekend here on the Madison Chain, which is good news. It's already going to be pretty busy out there with pleasure boaters. It's a holiday weekend. And I guess since I'm on the topic, I do encourage everybody to be patient out there and just I guess remember that you've got an extra day off work, so everybody should be happy. Weather-wise, we've had a chance to dry out this past week with some gorgeous temps in the 70s most days, and it looks like that trend continues through the weekend and all through next week. So fabulous weather ahead. Make sure you get out and enjoy it. The Mendota buoy, let's see, where are we at? I was at 72. Yep, still 72 degrees out there. So that cooler water has got the fish a little more active, and especially on the musky side of things. Now that water temps are down, guys are out there getting after it and doing well, but I'll talk about that a little later in the report as well. Generally around the chain, as far as fishing reports go, even though things are cooling down, we're still on summer cruise control mode here a bit, where things pretty much stay the same as they've been. That being said, generally speaking, outside weed edges are your best bet to find fish anywhere on the chain. especially bluegills. But you can also find gills suspended out over deep water and congregating on mid-lake humps. Otherwise, with the weeds being thick in many shallow areas around town, shore fishing for panfish can still be a challenge. But if you can find pockets in the weeds or places where the weed cutters have been through, you can still find fish. For gills, spikes, waxworms on an ice jig is a great idea. Redworms on a little bit bigger jig. For crappies, crappie minnows, of course, are great. A small minnow-shaped plastic on a jig under a bobber is a pretty safe bet. On the perch front, it's still pretty quiet out there. I regularly hear about fish being picked up here and there, but nothing consistent and nothing really to write home about. But weed lines are a good place to start if you're looking for perch. Largemouth bass anglers are doing well up shallow in the weeds with any number of presentations. But again, with the weeds being as thick as they are, weedless plastics and topwater frogs are going to be your best bet. Smallmouth bass are being found shallow early and late in the day, but for the most part, you'll find them off in cooler, deeper, rocky areas. There again, any number of slower artificial presentations will work, but drop shotting or slip bobbering or jigging a fathead minnow or a crawler sounds like it's really the way to go right now. Sounds like the walleye bite around town remains slow, especially on Mendota. I hear the fish are out there, just not sure why they've been tight-lipped. But if you're fishing from shore, you know that walleye fishing's been tough all summer with the weeds and water temps being high. But if you're in a boat, work weed lines on rocky shoreline breaks near shallow flats during the day. Move up on those shallow flats during low light periods. Otherwise, working weed edges or right in the weeds on mid-lake humps is usually, the move this time of year. But yeah, like I said, it's just been odd. Why I don't know why they've been so quiet lately, at least for the folks I talk to. No matter where you fish, though, on the live bait side of things, minnows will definitely catch fish, but crawlers are definitely what has been working best lately, as is typical for this time of year. Speaking of crawlers, I've also heard some reports of folks getting walleyes trolling crawler harnesses. If it's pike you're after, they'll grab just about any lure you throw at them, with weed lines being your best bet if you're looking for pike to start at weed lines. Musky action's been slow all summer long with the warm weather we've had, but the cold temps do have the water temps down, and the fish are in a much better mood, it sounds like. As for trout, it sounds like we've had a chance, now that we've had a chance to dry out, most creeks are in good shape, so there's not a lot of time left in the season, and this is really some of the best trout fishing of the year right now, at least in my opinion. So get out there and enjoy it before it ends, October 15th. I'll talk more about trout in my Happy Fly Day feature at the end of the report, as always. Otherwise, you can get into a little more detail here up on Cherokee. Still a weedy mess. It's going to be a weedy mess even when it freezes over, but that's why it holds so many bluegills and stuff up there, and is a great spot to fish. But right now, you're going to need weedless plastics or topwater frogs to get much action up there. Otherwise, if you got a small craft, you can launch here at the School Road launch. Get out in the kind of the channel out there and cast for bass. If you can keep the small pike off your line, and you'll find panfish out there too. 113 Bridge, just a nice mixed bag of fish. I was actually fishing down there just the other day with my boys. We got a ton of bluegills down there. Some decent ones, mostly small though, but still a lot of fun. I've heard about walleyes, I've heard about bass, occasional pike, catfish. And speaking of catfish, they've generally moved on out into the main lake here and are still just kind of cruising shorelines, looking for stuff to eat. And I hear about them everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. So, but there are some nice fish being caught out there for sure. Otherwise, on Mendota, all you really need to know is weed edge to find a nice mixed bag of fish, especially bluegills. But I am hearing about good numbers of gills on mid-lake humps, Dunn's Bar, Beerley Bar, Second Point, anywhere there's a hump. You'll probably find some bluegills out there as well. If you're fishing weed lines, you'll probably find a crappie here and there. I don't hear about many perch, but you might find a perch there too. I have heard about a few people getting perch out to as deep as 20 feet, so a little off the weed edge. But yeah, like I said, perch have just been a mystery for a couple of years now, really. Largemouth bass, like I said, are up shallow in the weeds. Smallmouth bass are being found in rocky areas, shallow during low light, deeper during the day, with crawlers working great for them. Like I said, walleye kind of in those same areas, weed lines near rocky shoreline breaks and shallow flats near shallow flats, and then move up on the flats when it's dark. And crawlers, again, for walleyes have been working best, but really the bite for walleyes has been pretty tough all around, on Mendota anyway. Pike are pretty much everywhere. I'd focus on weed edges if I was going to fish for them. Otherwise, down to the Tenny Break Wall. A nice mixed bag of fish. I've been hearing about some nice gar actually swimming around down there. The water's pretty clear, so you can see a lot of things going on. Otherwise, smallmouth bass, pike, occasional walleye and stuff. The water is still high in the lakes from all the rain we got over the last few weeks, so there's more water pushing through the lock and dam than normal, and that brings fish in up from Lake Monona. So I've heard about great numbers of gills in the river, some bass, and the occasional walleye. Same thing down where the river dumps out is usually a pretty good spot for holding fish. Otherwise, on Monona, the gills are still the star of the show over there. I mean, they're all over on weed edges. You can catch them suspending, although that bite sounds like it's been a little quieter lately. And just about anywhere. Shallow bays, Weechowuk Bay, Turville Bay, find pockets in the weeds, weed edges, you're going to find fish. And mid-lake humps as well, the rock pile over here, the mid-lake bar, all of them are holding fish, full of bluegills right now, so get out there and enjoy that. Otherwise, they're also getting gills during the day off the Monona Terrace wall, and they're getting crappies at night with crappie minnows working great for those fish, and they're getting some walleyes after dark as well. Monona Bay's got a weed cutter that basically lives there all summer, so the weeds, if you're shorebound, it can provide some good fishing off Brittingham Park over here for bluegills and bass, and you might catch a pike or maybe a walleye or something. But yeah, heard about some decent fishing down there. Lake Wingra has a bunch of tiny bluegills, good largemouth bass, and there's some muskies in there, but from what I hear, it's so weedy, it's basically impossible to fish for them. So, yeah, I guess hopefully the weeds come down soon as things start to cool down, and that action should pick up. Otherwise, musky on Lake Monona has been picking up. I've heard about several nice fish coming off, a lot of fish kind of on the north end of the lake here, but they are definitely all over, and it sounds like topwater's been good for folks. So, yeah. Get out there and give it a shot. We do have suckers here. I may be getting big musky suckers this week, probably next week though. I guess we'll see. But upper mud down here, the weed line at the dredge hole is always a pretty safe bet. Otherwise, the shallow flats around that for largemouth bass has been good. Lake Waubesa, fish kill aside, sounds like the action's been pretty good on weed edges all around the lake. Heard about some good walleye action down here by Babcock Bible Camp area. Some gills out a little bit deeper than on the weed edge, and also some crappies out there too. So that's, I guess, a little bit different. But yeah, gills on weed edges is all you really need to know. Same thing down in Kegonsa. Fish weed edges, you'll probably find gills, maybe a bonus perch or something in there. The gill bite that was out suspended the last couple weeks ago has kind of died off. But walleye down along the state park out here on these rocky breaks, Williams Point and that. Sounds like they're getting a few down there after dark. I guess that's it for the Madison Chain around the area. Indian Ford and Jefferson dams have been producing some catfish from what I hear, decent eater size. I haven't heard about any flatheads. Usually they start to show up here in the fall. I haven't heard of any yet, but they're bound to show up. Koshkonong sounds like they're getting some walleyes and white bass trolling, which is the name of the game out there this time of year. I have heard about some white bass and crappies that have moved up into the river here. They've been getting some at Fort and in the Black Hawk Island area. Good numbers on them from what I hear. Otherwise, Beaver Dam's got the same awesome catfish bite for eater catfish if you're looking to stock up a cooler. Heard about some trout over to Devil's Lake, so that's happening, and that bite's only going to get better as we move into fall here. If you're fishing on the river, it's also we're kind of in a cruise control mode right now. So you're really just, if you can find deeper water, if you're fishing the river itself, if you can find deeper water, you're probably going to find fish. So outside bends, look for deeper water. Smallmouth bass love wood along the shoreline. Otherwise, downstream sides of sandbars, downstream sides of bridge pilings, downstream of like gravel rock bars, stuff like that, usually hold deeper water and will usually hold fish. So mostly walleye and smallmouth, but you got pike and all kinds of other stuff out there. Otherwise, anywhere up and down the river, dam is going to be your best bet for finding a nice mixed bag of fish. I just love fishing a dam, especially on the Wisconsin River. You soak a crawler out there, you never know what you might find. Lake Wisconsin, it sounds like the panfish bite in all the shallow bays has been pretty decent still. Bass up shallow along shorelines has been good. The walleye and sauger bite sounds like it's still kind of slow, and size is a bit of an issue, but hopefully that improves as we move into fall. Otherwise, yeah, smallmouth action on the river is great. Look for those smallmouth chasing big schools of bait fish. You'll see them crash on the surface, and you just toss right into that fray, and you will likely get bit with anything that looks flashy or like a minnow. But like I said, dams, Wisconsin Dells Dam, Castle Rock, Petenwell, great mixed bag of fish. I guess I've heard they're getting some walleyes up on Petenwell a little bit more. Mississippi River's been quiet as far as reports that I've heard. And I don't think a lot of people fish the river in August. So few, in fact, that the Clements barge over here at Genoa closes the whole month of August. But I heard they are opening this weekend, so if you want to head over there, go ahead. Otherwise, over on the East Coast over here to Milwaukee, River's still running high right now. I checked the CFS; it was at 1,200. I don't like to wade in there if it's over 600. So if that gives you any idea, it's still running pretty high. But I have heard that kings are moving into the harbors. Kings are even moving up in the rivers, a few of them, and even some steelhead. A guy came in and had a nice steelhead he caught over there in that really high water right after the floods. But otherwise, yeah, it sounds like the kings are in the harbors. They're getting them jigging. They're still getting trolling. And yeah, they're just going to start to pack in there. And pretty soon they're going to start heading up the river. And then we'll be officially into the salmon rodeo, which is an exciting time of year for a lot of folks. And I'll keep you posted there. Otherwise, yeah, we're into trout season. So if you're fishing, well, like I said, so the streams have been high and muddy for the last like 3 weeks. And now it sounds like they're running pretty clear and good conditions out there. If you're running spinning gear, as usual, Husky jerks, Rapala countdowns, stuff like that are always a pretty safe bet. Crappie-sized tube jigs, Panther Martin spinners. If you're using live bait, redworms, drifted through holes and runs and tail outs are a good idea. Otherwise, on the fly side of things, as part of our Happy Fly Day feature, scuds, caddis nymphs, pheasant tail nymphs, woolly buggers, they're all going to catch fish pretty much year-round. But if that's your thing, go ahead. You might catch a mayfly hatch in the mornings or evenings, or maybe a caddis hatch in the evenings. It's going to be fall now, so you'll start seeing more of that. But otherwise, it's full-on terrestrial season. I've been talking about terrestrials for the last at least month or so. Ants, crickets, beetles are all going to be super effective. But for my money, I'm throwing hoppers right now. So it's definitely hopper season. You might want to stick with a little smaller hopper right now because it's a little early, but throw some big ones as we get later in the season. I like to use tan and yellow ones as we get later in the season. Right now, I'll focus on like greens and maybe darker ones. But yeah, anyway, it's hopper time. Best time of the year to be out there. Fish are hungry, looking to bulk up for spawning here. And yeah, so stop in, stock up on some hopper flies, and get out there because October 15th, it all ends. I guess that pretty much does it for the report. I do want to thank you for tuning in. Feel free to call the shop at 608-241-4225 if you want us to expand on anything. Do feel free to post your comments and catch us below. We always love to see that. I hope everybody has a happy and safe Labor Day weekend. Be patient out there if you're using the boat launches, and just be happy that you got an extra day off work because, yeah, looks like the weather's going to be gorgeous. So good luck, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks so much.